The 1st of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora. Okay. Let's see where we got up to. Um, yeah. Oh, we're up to Toshma Haganov. It's on the bottom of Chaf Aleph Alamid base. It's the last line. The Torah is on the end of the second to the last line. Tashma, come and learn proof to Rabba's opinion from the following brisa. Haganav shenatal mizeh v'natan lazeh. A thief who took from this one and gave to that one. V'chein gazlan shenatal mizeh v'natan lazeh. And similarly, a robber who took from this one and gave to that one. Hooray! Oh, we got up to Chaf Beis Amid Aleph. Hooray! Wow. That is accomplishment. Baruch Hashem. V'chein Yarden, and similarly, the Jordan River, shenatal mizeh v'natan lazeh, that took from this one and gave to that one. Ma shenatal natal, uma shenatan natan. What was taken was taken, what was given is given. Bishlema Gazlan Bayardain. It's understandable for the robber and the Jordan. Tika Chazi Lahu Umi Yayesh. Because the owner sees them and despairs. Yeah. Ganav, but in the case of a thief, mi ka chazi le dimi yayesh. Right. Does the owner see the thief and despair? He doesn't see him. Right. That's the whole idea of a ganav. He comes in. Tirgama Rav Papa. Rav Papa interpreted the brisa Belis Tim Mizuyan. That we're talking about an armed robber. The thief is actually an armed robber, according to Rav Papa. So in that case, the owner is aware. Ihachi, if so, Hayinu Gazlan. Yeah, why do you call him a Ganav? It's identical to a robber. So why are we stating the same case twice? Trey Gavne Gazlan. There are two kinds of robbers. Okay, the English says the Bryce's term robber refers to one who robs openly and fearlessly without the threat of weapons. The term thief refers to one who robs confidently, who robs less confidently, who must therefore rely upon weapons. In both cases, however, the owner is immediately aware of the loss and consciously despairs of recovering the stolen object.
Hmm. Trey Gavne Goslin. Let's see. Is there any Rashi over here to help us out? Uh, no, no, not really. I don't understand this. The Gemara, Rav Papa says, this that it says Ganav in the Brisa is talking about listing Mizuin. He's not only is he a robber who's robbing openly and in front of the person, but he's doing so with a weapon. So why would you call him a Ganav? That seems to be the Gemara's question. Hochi Hainush Gazlan. Or as you explained, Lou, that's essentially the same case as the case of Gazlan. What's the difference whether he has a weapon, he doesn't have a weapon? He's a robber. He's doing so in the open. He's taking by force from the hand of the victim, not like a ganav who comes in stealth and doesn't confront the victim. He doesn't want to run into him. So the Gemara says, no, Trey Gavne Gazlan. There's two types of Gazlanim. Okay, good. So there's two types, one with a gun, one with a weapon and one without a weapon. But still, you didn't answer the question that I asked. Why do you call him a ganav? So I guess the point is that the one that has a weapon, we're saying he's a Goslin really, but he's sort of Ganav type of a Goslin. Because the fact that that he has a weapon shows that he's a bit concerned about who it is that he's going to run into. He's not like a Ganav mamish to come in stealth, but he's a little bit afraid, so he needs to have a weapon to feel he can that he can prevail. So that's I guess why we call him a Ganav. Okay. And the point for our Gemara is that if so then we're talking in both cases an Aveda Midas, and therefore we don't run into the issue of Yehu Shalom Midas, and then so then the Mishnah is not telling us anything about the din of it's all Aveda Midas. Okay. Next case, Toshma. We go to Roy.
There's a one word. There's a very short Rashi on the top of the page. The next page, it begins with Yardain, because it talks about the Yardain, and it says, the Cain, Shar Hanaros, and similarly, all other rivers. The Hine Zeh Al Yad, and this is on the Yad Zeh, and Tana Etor Zeh this Al Yad HaYardain, on the side of the Yardain, Hoya Yoshev, that he was sitting. is talking about that was the case, but it works for other cases as well.
He was just talking about himself, but the principle applies to other bodies of water as well. They're gonna splash away, sweep away with their flood objects of the owner, and then deposit them downstream to somebody that doesn't own it. So that's a case of Yehush Midas, because we're assuming that it's also talking about cases where the one that lost the item saw that it happened. The din is the same, whether he's there, whether he's not there. Or maybe we have to actually say we're dafka talking about cases where he saw. Yeah, because if he didn't see, so then we got a problem of Yesh Lo Midas. Okay, yeah, we got to say that it's talking like the case of Goslin, that it's an Aveda Midas. Yeah, clear. Not all cases of Shatva Nahar are cases of Aveda Midas, though. Okay. Next Rashi, listing Mezuyim. Got another Rashi for you, Phil. That was the Tirgum Rav Papa.
Okay.
Listim Mezuyim.
Listim Mezuyim. Listim is robbers, and Mezuyim are fake ones.
Armed.
Armed robbers. Right. Okay. We're up to that part right now. I don't know if we got that far in the Gemora.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that, Phil.
Okay. The ubechozek and the chazaka and the chazaka on this nitla that it took from this the ma'ikra, and originally yada they knew umiyayish, and they would be yish from that.
Yeah, he's the guy that points the pistol at you, and he says, "Your money or your life." So he's somebody who takes what he's taking with force, and the person knows that he's being taken from, and he's meyayish on the spot. So that's yesh midas. It's got nothing to do with yesh shalom midas. Okay. Now we go to the next case. Next Shmamina.
Where is it?
Roy is up.
Where is it, please?
22A1, left-hand column, last paragraph.
Oh, thanks. Tosh Shuma. Come and learn approved Havaya's opinion from the following brisa. Shatef Naher. If a river flooded and washed away Karoi, Atsoi, the Avoniv, someone's beams, wood or stones, Unafano, the Shadeb, and deposited them in someone else's field, Hare Ole Shalot. These belong to the finder.
Right.
Mipnei Shanis Yisha Haba Alim, because the owner has despaired of recovering them. The Gemara deduces from this brisa. Can I read that?
Yeah, continue.
Shomar, the reason the finder may keep these is Denisya Eshu Haba'alim, because we can be sure in this case that the owner has despaired of finding them. Or Sosama, but ordinarily, in cases, says the outscroll, in which it is possible that the owner is not yet aware of his loss and is therefore not consciously despaired, lo, the lost item would not belong to the finder. And this supports Abaya's view.
Supports Abaya's view.
And the Gemara rejects it.
Supports Abaya's view because it's the implication is, as long as it's not a case of Yehush Lo Midas, the din will be Harei Elu Shalom. But otherwise, it will not be. You won't be able to keep it. Oh, so we see according to there that if the Bailim wasn't Miyayish because he didn't know about it to be Miyayish, so meaning that's a case of Yehush Lo Midas, the din would not be Harei Elu Shalom. Oh, if so then we see that the Brisa holds like the opinion that says Yehush Lo Midas is Lo Habeyesh. Lo Habeyesh, like Abaye. So it'll be a kasha on Rava. Let's see we got a Rashi over here. 2 Rashis, in fact. 3 Rashis. We'll split up the Rashis.
Okay.
The first Rashi is Shotav Nahar Korov.
Shotav Nahar Korov. Shotav is a flooding of the river, it's called. Okay. So we have a flooding of this river. Korov, no, Korov is the flooding of the river washed up the coring, the beams. Shelzeh of these, Umotzan Acher, and he found others. And somebody else found them. The river,
somebody else found it, right?
The river flooded it away, and somebody else found these beams. But then they say that these are his, because they're definitely me'ayesh if you found a flooded up river.
Yeah.
That these are his. Habalim, because the owners have Yeush on this. The call Shtifat Nahar, because all flooding up of the river to Koro 18 of the wooden beams, the Avanim and stones, Habalim, and the stones of the owners, Yada, they know. Miyad immediately the Yesh Lo call, because if the river floods, everybody knows about it. It has a coal. And once it has a coal, they're going to Miyayesh because they know, hey, wait a second, everything got flooded away by my river, so there's no way I'm going to get this back. So there's Yeush, and the other people who find these beams can take it because they're hefker already.
Yeah, so assuming that the owner of the beams is not on a business trip in China, I don't think they did those things back then. So he'll wherever he is, even if he's not there at the time, but he'll come back at night, and then he'll find out because the whole town is talking about what happened. Okay, so in other words, it's a case of Yehush Midas. Oh, okay. Next Rashi, Lou, you want to read the next Rashi? This is what the Gemora is medayek, infers from what it says in this Tosefta. It's actually a Tosefta.
Okay, let's see.
Stama.
Ha stama. Ordinarily, ha im haisa aveda achras she'ein lanu lomar she'yid'o habailim lo hayu shel motz a kashi l'rabba. So this, if it was lost, what's aharta? Acheres. Something was lost somewhere else.
If it was a different type of an Aveda, as opposed to an Aveda that came about through the river flooding.
She'ein lanu lomar, that we could not say that he knew, that the owner knew. Then there would not be shalmotze. There would not be a question on Rava.
Lo have shalmotze. In the case of an Aveda Acheres, an ordinary case, like the Gemora says, stama. Stama means an ordinary case, like you translated.
Right.
In an ordinary case, how we defining an ordinary case? Rashi defines it as a case she'ein lanu loymar sheyedu abaylim, that we cannot say for a fact that the owner of the lost item necessarily even knows that it's lost for him, because only a case of Shataf Nahar, Rashi says, that was a case where it's a big deal. Everybody, it's a big happening in the town, and everybody's talking about it. There's a call, so it can't be that the guy didn't know that it happened. Over here, though, if we're talking about stama, talking about an ordinary case where an Aveda Acheres, a different type of an Aveda, which Rashi defines as a case where we cannot say that necessarily the owner knows that it's lost from him already. So in other words, we're now talking about a case of Yehush Shalom Midas. Oh, so in that case, the Tosefta didn't discuss that case. It didn't say that case was Harei Elushlo. It must be that the din of that case, Rashi says, is Lo Havi Shel Motze. It will not belong to the Motze. It will not belong to the one who finds it. Oh, so if so, it won't belong to the one that finds it. So you're telling me that the case of Yehush Lo Midas does not belong to the one who finds it. And who does that go like? That's a kasha on Rava. Kasha on Rava, because Rava holds Yehush Lo Midas is regarded as a halachic Yehush from the time that the item was lost.
Right.
So we see from this. So that's the inference that the Gemora is making. That if the Tosefta is talking that this is a case where the owner, where the finder can keep it, it must be that and it's an unusual case, admittedly. So we're making an inference that so that will tell me that in an ordinary case, the din won't be like that. So if so, then that's a kasha on Rava, says Rashi.
And a support for Abaye.
And a support for Abaye, yeah. Yeah, Rashi's focuses on the fact that it's kasher to Rava, because now that requires the Gemora to try to figure out some way to defend Rava. So the focus, in other words, is on Rava. The focus is off of Abaye, and the focus is on Rava. What is Rava going to say about this brisa? How's he going to explain away the inference that the Gemora made? So we go back to the Gemora. Do we have time? Yeah. We go back to the Gemora. The Gemora is going to say, Hacha b'mayaskinan. Roy.
Hacha b'maya sikina. With what case are we dealing with here? When the Baraita implies that one may not keep what he finds if it is not certain the owner has despaired of it. Kasheyacho lahatzil, with a case in which he is able to save the lost objects. Since they are salvageable, there's no reason to suppose that the owner despairs of them. The finder may therefore not keep them, as even Rava would agree. The Gemara questions this explanation.
Well, let's first read Rashi. Okay, we got a Rashi over here. V'sheyochol kesheyochol lahatzio.
V'yeshochol lahatzio, because he's able to save them. Tegabehu.
Udafasa b'metzia acheres.
Metzia acheres, and it's an understanding of a different happening. Devar sheyesh, a thing there's both siman, that there is a siman for. The yichol litain, that he siman, because he can give the siman the litol, and he can take it.
Metzia acheres.
Dina ba shekayim. It's chayiv to return it. What is that word, modina?
Modina, that he will be modeh in this case, the chayiv lahachzir.
That he has to return it, the chayiv lahachzir. He admits that he has to return it because there's a siman on it.
Yeah, who will? The one that we said the focus and the attention is on that right now. That's Rava. Rava was the one that we were claiming was going to say in the Stam case that he'll when he finds out about it that it's lost, he'll be miyayish. So the Gemara ended up so that's a kasha on him. So the Gemara says no. We're talking about a case. We're talking about the diuk to be made is that in a Metzia Acheres case, Dachvasa means similarly in the Metzia Acheres case where we don't say that we say it's an Aveda Shalom Bidas. It's a Aveda Shalom. He doesn't know that it's lost. Nevertheless, Davar Sheyesh Bo Siman. We're talking about that it has a siman, and if it has a siman, Yochol Yitain Siman. The loser can the owner who lost it, he's able to give a siman and claim it, and take it, and so therefore in such a case, Modina Ba, he will admit. In such a case, meaning Rava will admit in such a case the chayiv lahachzir. So therefore, that's the way we're going to say that the Tosefta is saying Harei Elu Shelo in the case of Shataf Nahar, and not like the case of the Metzia Acheres, which has a siman. It's very good. In other words, we could say like this: even in a case of where the item had a siman, if it's a case of Shataf Nahar, it's the din is Harei Elu Shelo, even if it has a siman. And the reason for that is because in an ordinary case of Shataf Nahar, the river overflows and floods, and now the item gets swept downstream many kilometers away to a far off place. And so therefore the owner, even though he has a siman on the matter, on the item that he lost, nevertheless he's going to give up because it could be in the next community. It could be a community 10 communities away. He's not where he doesn't have any idea how to go about recovering it, even though he has a siman. So he's miyash even in that case. So the corresponding case of davar sheyesh bo siman would be if it's not a case of shataf nahar, but since it does have a siman. So even though the person may not know at the time that it was lost, so it's an evaded shalom. He doesn't know that it was lost, but it's not a case of yehu shalom bidas, because we say that once he finds out that he lost it, he's going to say, "Oh, I have a siman. I'll go put a note up in the shul, and I lost it somewhere in the community." And somebody's gonna answer my note, so he doesn't give up. So it's not a case of yeush. In other words, it's a case of shalom midas, but it's not a case of yeush shalom midas. Okay, so that answers for Rava. Oh, now we got 3 minutes left. And we can go weiter with the Gemora. The Gemora has a follow-up question on the answer that the Gemora just gave about this answer we're talking about that he lost it, something that was Yochel Hatzil, because it's got a siman. Rashi says. Let's see why the Gemora doesn't has an objection to this. Okay. Whose turn is it to read already?
It's mine.
Okay, Lou.
If so, Ema Seifa. Consider the last part of the brisa. Im havu hayu habailim mirad fin acharehen. If the owner was chasing after them, chayiv lechazir. The finder is obligated to return them. Becholin lahatzil. If in this case, it's a situation in which he is able to save them. My area miradfin. Why are we speaking about him chasing after them? Afilu ein miradfin nami, even if he was not chasing after them. The same ruling should also apply, because since they can be saved, then we assume that he's not given up hope.
Hmm.
The footnote says the Gemara understands the term salvageable to mean that the objects cannot get too far away and they may be retrieved at the owner's leisure. It doesn't quote anybody, though.
Okay, so okay, we're out of time. We'll have to come back to this one. This is a bit. We have to work it out over here. We have a Resha, we got a Seifa, and then we got a what the Gemara answered that we're talking about. So we'll have to work that out. Okay, good.
Take care. Be well.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, all the best, everybody.
Take care. Thank
Bye,
you. Bye-bye.
Phil. Bye, Lou. Bye, Roy.